Hello everybody, and welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. The 1990s are regarded by many fans as the golden era of dancehall, as that was the epoch that saw that art form reach its creative peak, as well as an explosion of super talented DJs in their absolute prime. That generation of toasters would literally explode out of Jamaica and set the world's airwaves ablaze with anthem after anthem, making that subgenre of reggae a truly international mainstream sound. And while the island was the epicenter of this sonic revolution, the children of Jamaican immigrants in the diaspora would also play their part and create classic material for the culture. From the likes of Toronto-based Canada powerhouse Louis Rankin to the subject of this video in the incredible duo of Mr. Notch and Edley Shine, more popularly known as the Born Jamericans. Straight out of Washington DC, these cats would redefine and popularize the hybrid reggae and hip-hop crossover sound that became a hallmark of that decade. They didn't invent it, mind you, as the likes of Daddy Freddy and Shinehead had already pioneered the style, but they were the ones to truly embrace it as a niche. From a stylistic point of view, I personally rate them among the best dancehall duos of the 1990s. A devastating combination of a smooth, sweet singer and a brilliant big voice toaster that rocked dance floors and radio stations from the Caribbean to Asia and all the way to Africa. Anybody who was around in the 1990s felt the energy of this incredible act. They had it all, from the look, the talent, and the enthusiasm to truly dominate the dancehall scene for years to come. But as is common knowledge, the music industry is one treacherous and unforgiving space, and when it seemed like they were about to consolidate on their incredible start, these two guys were torn apart by record label politics and the dark side of the entertainment business. Let's take a look at what really happened to the Born Jamericans. Now this tale begins in Washington DC in 1992 with 17-year-old Normal Howell, aka Notch. Fresh out of high school, he was the son of a Jamaican father and a Puerto Rican mother. His father had been a bassist with a band while still living in Jamaica, and he was blessed with an amazing smooth voice. He'd modeled his singing and voice style after popular dancehall singers like Pliers and Pinchers, and was then moonlighting at a popular Jamaican nightclub in Washington called Kilimanjaro, where he would at times open for big names like Shabba Ranks and Supercats whenever they were on tour and came to perform at the club. Washington had a strong Jamaican community, as most immigrants who first came to America in the 70s and 80s first settled in New York before moving there. And out of these immigrants was the Payne family. The patriarch, Mr. Payne, owned one of the most popular record stores in DC. The owner's son, named Horace Payne, aka Edley Shine, was working at his dad's store, having also just graduated from high school. And this kid was a fantastic toaster who was heavily influenced by Buju Banton. One day, Notch came to the store to buy some 12-inch records with instrumentals. The two teens got talking, and when Edley Shine asked Notch why he was buying so many records, he told him that he used them to perform at the Kilimanjaro nightclub twice a week. Edley Shine was also interested in music, and the pair hit it off immediately and began to meet regularly in Edley Shine's basement, where he had his own sound system set up to freestyle over instrumentals from the record store. And in no time, they began to nurse the idea of forming a duo. And in that period, they began to write the songs that became their breakout hits, like Seize and Circle and Boom Shack Attack. They chose the stage name of Born Jamericans to symbolize the dual heritage as American kids with Jamaican roots. And when they began to perform at bars and nightclubs around the city, they caught on like wildfire with audiences. Notch's infectious, smooth and melodic singing was perfectly complemented by Edley Shine's powerful toasting and incredible lyricism. Their fame grew quickly around the city, and it wasn't long before they began to get invitations to tour with visiting Jamaican superstars like Shabba Ranks whenever they were in America. They were a fantastic act, but had difficulties getting a record deal from all the big labels like Epic or MCA, despite good reviews from the touring circuit. These labels were skeptical of signing on American kids to do reggae, whether or not they had Jamaican roots, as they felt audiences wouldn't take them seriously. But eventually, they began to discuss with an independent label called Delicious Vinyl that offered them a one-song deal. And the arrangement is that the label would finance the production of one song and a music video. And if it sold up to 100,000 copies in 60 days, they would be signed up on a full album deal. And of course, the pair grabbed it in a heartbeat. The song they chose was Boom Shack Attack, and upon release became a breakout hit that sold more than 100,000 copies in 28 days. The label immediately put them in the studio to record the 11 songs that made up their debut album, Kids from Foreign. The album would spawn smash hits like its lead single, Boom Shack Attack, which reached number 15 on the Billboard rap charts, as well as certified club and party anthems like Seas and Seko that took the album to number 2 on the Billboard Reggae charts in July 1994, only narrowly beaten to the top spot by Patra's monster hit album in Queen of the Pack. An incredible feat for the then newcomers in what was a period of huge mega stars like Buju Banton, Shabba Ranks, and Supercats, who were all then rocking the global charts. Their impact was phenomenal to say the least. They were simply awesome, charming, talented, and fresh, and were in crazy demand for shows everywhere. They began to tour non-stop, playing shows all across America, Europe, and Asia as opening acts for huge stars like Buju Banton, Gregory Isaacs, and other reggae royalty over the next 2 years. They became global superstars and were amazed while on tour of Japan when tens of thousands of fans sang along to their music word for word. They were immensely popular worldwide, including all over the Caribbean. But incredibly, they weren't very popular in Jamaica as their instrumentals were based on classic Studio One rhythms with a rocksteady or rootsy feel, as opposed to the then more popular hard-driving dancehall rhythms being crafted by producers like Bobby Digital and Steely and Clevie. By late 1996, they went to work on the second album, Yardcore, that came out in early 1997 to critical acclaim and great reviews. This album had wonderful tracks, like my personal favorite, entitled track Yardcore and the irresistible Send My Love. In summary, a slick, infectious compilation that once again showcased the sublime talents of Notch and Ed Lee Shine. The album was a decent commercial hit, but failed to really take off as it ran into roadblocks set up by industry gatekeepers who began to demand payments for their music to get airplay on radio and television. Their label, Delicious Vinyl, being a small outfit with a small budget, wasn't prepared to do all that, and that lack of promotion kept the album from truly taking off. This proved to be a big disappointment to the guys, and over time began to strain their relationship. And it soon got worse, as that label found Notch's good looks and smooth singing potentially more marketable, as the sound and trends were changing, and they felt very soon there'd be less demand for Ed Lee Shine's more rough-edged, rugged persona. They began to put ideas in Notch's head, telling him he would do better on his own as a solo act, and in no time, cracks in their relationship would soon appear. Despite the album not selling so well, they were still in heavy demand for shows around the globe, and would play major concerts practically everywhere. But by 1998, their label decided not to renew their contract, and after more friction in their relationship, Notch would quit the duo to pursue a solo career. He would go on to do his own thing and scored one of the biggest songs of 2001 in the fabulous Nothing I Go On So. I rocked that song for years and had no idea it was him. I can't play a sample of this song due to copyright restrictions, but I left a link to it in this video description section below. Notch also explored his Puerto Rican heritage and was part of the massive reggaeton wave of the early 2000s, and even put out a reggaeton album in 2007. Ed Lee Shine, on the other hand, would lean more toward a behind-the-scenes role. After the breakup, he would tour with rapper Mad Lion for a while and became a songwriter for Warner Records. All in all, the breakup of the Born Jamericans was a sad thing, as that pair had been such a delightful duo. However, the massive nostalgia from their fans have seen them do several reunion shows over the years, and you can never tell what could happen and if these two guys may go into the studio to record some new music for the fans. They were, in my opinion, among the most outstanding acts of the 90s, and it's really a crying shame that they became yet another statistic in the long list of marvelous groups torn apart by music industry politics and intrigues. But such, they say, is life. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.